Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Diz, a show that gives you everything you need to know to help make your Disney vacation as magical as can be in just about 20 minutes. I'm your host, Jeff Coviello. With me each week is Disney Master Sandy from AZ Diz by Instant Impressions Travel Services. Sandy, how you doing tonight?
I am feeling in the holiday spirit, Jeff.
Well, the holiday spirit is a very broad term. Tonight we are in a spooky holiday spirit as you have just returned from Walt Disney World. And we are going to talk about the return of Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party.
And let's be clear, listeners, your calendar is just fine. It is the middle of August, and Disney has now deemed it Halloween. So for all you pumpkin spice lovers, the season is here. For all of you like me who are going, kids are not back in school yet. I'm so not on Halloween. I feel you.
Well, as somebody who is about to return to school, I can tell you the back to school sales have been going on for at least a month and a half. So we can safely call it Halloween. It's fine. It's not a big deal. But this is a party that's returning during COVID, as we did some shows on them. And you can go back and check those out if you're interested in comparing. They had a little bit of a different feel to this particular season when they did their event. So let me ask you, give me your overall impressions of the return of this party, knowing full well that you've been to the iterations pre-COVID, you were at the COVID modification, and now it's back. So give me your overall impressions.
I think next to the day that I was back at the park for the first time post-COVID, this was it. I just kept looking around all night going, we're back. It's here. This is Disney. This is Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. It is everything we have loved for years, and I am thrilled to say there are no modifications.
For those of you that have listened to this show, that's pretty significant praise. So like I don't want to just ignore that. Like the fact that this is second to when you first came back on property, that says something about the atmosphere. It says something about what's available. It says something about, the experience in general. With all of that comes a cost. So before we do any of that, let's break down the cost for folks. I know there are some different levels based on any kind of DVC membership, anything like that you have. So let's break that down.
And cost it is. This is not an inexpensive item. It is $109 to $199 per person.
Well, and that's a significant range, right? So let's kind of unpack that.
So the party, as we said, starts in mid-August. It goes all the way up to Halloween night. The parties do sell out every year. Not every party, but for instance, Halloween night sells out within weeks of them offering it.
Right.
Unlike other things, or I should say like other things, unfortunately, if you're hearing this and you want to go on Halloween night, it is too late for this year, unless, of course, you want to visit our friends over at Evil Bay, as I nicely refer to them. And then you can be assured that your Halloween tickets will be more than $199 for the night. So I encourage you to plan ahead for next year because it's tough. We go through a lot of time with clients to figure out, is this party worth the money for you? Because again, it's a lot of money. The holiday, the actual Halloween date is substantially more. And then when you get into weekend nights, it's more. Closer to Halloween, it's more. The party happens 3 to 4 times a week. Typically, it's going to be on Fridays and Sundays, and then different weeks it varies, whether it's also Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday. We never see the party on Wednesdays or Saturdays. Wednesdays is that late night for deluxe resort guests, which is why they've kind of held that pretty sacred.
Got it. No, you're saying it's $109 to $199. Obviously, that depends upon the date, as you said. What other flexibility do we have with pricing? Are there any other instances where pricing is different? Any discounts, that type of thing? Let's kind of give those out.
Discounts discounted dates for annual pass holders. And again, I'm going to say it. If you're not an annual pass holder right now, don't get excited. They have not put annual passes back on sale.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there are discounts for DVC members.
Well, and every time we bring up DVC, Disney Vacation Club, we like to mention our friends over at DVC News. For more than a decade, DVC News has provided the latest news and information regarding the Disney Vacation Club timeshare program and its member resorts. Visit them at dvcnews.com, where you can sign up for their email newsletter, or look for them at facebook.com/DVC News or twitter.com/DVC News. So DVC members, Disney Vacation Clubbers, get a discount. That falls within that price range, that $109 to $199. Is that how it's working?
Actually, the 109 is going to be the least expensive for the general public. Typically, you'll find that on some Tuesday nights early in the season, August and September.
Got it.
And again, as you get closer of these 42 opportunities to attend, you'll see it starts to get more and more. 159, 179 per adult tends to be the average in October. It is $10 less for children 3 to 9. And just like regular park admission, no ticket is required for children under age 3.
Okay. So you mentioned 42 different shows. You gave us a breakdown how, like, week to week, it really can change. They like to keep Wednesdays open. Talk to us about who this is for. You know, I mean, obviously, you know, you and I have had many conversations. You mentioned that under 3 number. Probably not a great idea for an under 3-year-old to be going to this. I mean, it is free for them, but it's a nighttime experience. So give us a breakdown of who you think this experience is for.
And as you said, the party is 7 to midnight, so it goes late into the evening. You don't need a regular park ticket to get in. Just your Halloween party ticket will get you in. They do allow early admission starting at 4 p.m. with your Halloween tickets. You can actually get 4 to midnight out of it, which is great. But again, the official extras of the party don't start till 7. So if your kids are going to be ready for bed at 9 and you've paid $600 to $800 for your family and you're going to get 2 hours of the party, it might not be it. I get asked by clients all the time about the party. And I gave it some more thought this year, and I decided that there are 6 different categories of people that go to the party.
Love it.
So the first category, those that are there for the hype. Their friends said it's Halloween, you must go. They call me, they tell me they must have tickets, and they have no idea what the party is.
Okay.
But they've heard the party's awesome, and they don't want to miss it.
That's fair.
They're in it for the hype.
Totally fair. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2.
Second group, they're all about the characters. They're huge Disney fans, and they know that there's some character opportunities that only exist at the Halloween party.
Characters that don't see the light of day every day.
Not all the time, and not necessarily costume the way they are.
Okay, cool. Number 3.
They want shorter lines. Who doesn't want shorter lines? So this is a time you're still going to stand in line for some attractions, but they're going to be shorter. So that's our third group.
Okay, number 4.
Those that want the shows. There are lots of additional experiences that only happen during the party, and those people are there for the show.
Okay. Number 5.
The food. We know that Disney consistently and with a lot more effort has been putting out specific snack and dining items that can only be purchased very limited times of the year or even very limited times of the day, like this party. And there is an entire not so scary menu.
Okay. And what was the last category?
It's Halloween. Those that want to trick or treat and get candy.
Okay. So let's break it down a little bit. The first one you mentioned was the hype. So obviously you get this all the time. People say, my friend told me this is what I have to do. What about the hype? What are people coming to you and saying, this is what I need to do, this is what I've been told? And how does it hold up? Why is it true? Why is it a reason to go?
Listen, we're Disney fans. If you're listening, we know you're a Disney fan. There's something about celebrating that is extra special in Disney, celebrating in costume, the fun of trick-or-treating. I am going to give my shout out now because I give it every year when we talk about these parties. Please think carefully about your Halloween costume. Those of you that are from areas up north where it can be super cold on Halloween, your costume probably doesn't work definitely in August,
No.
probably not in September or October.
Right.
Remember, it may be 11 o'clock at night, but it's still 80 degrees. So think carefully about what you're wearing.
Also pay attention to and talk to your travel specialist. There are restrictions on what you can and cannot wear too. So you want to make sure that you're planning appropriately while you bring that costume down to Orlando.
Most definitely. But the hype is all the fun. And again, not only is the party back this year, they listened to so much feedback over the years. They've added some extras. And part of the hype is that there are 12 magic shots only available during the party. Magic shots are part of your memory maker. So you might stand and hold your hand up and magically there'll be a pumpkin in your hand when you get your picture back. Or they've got you holding your hand out funny and you're kind of wondering what the heck they're doing. But when you get your picture, you're walking 0.
Got it. Okay.
They also set up photo booths, and they're not what you would think of when you think of a photo booth. But if you've listened to our shows about some of the Epcot festivals and seen our photos, they create these kind of photo backdrop booths where you kind of stand in the middle of the scene. And in combination with Halloween and the 50th, they've created 5 special booths for this.
Okay. And those are located throughout the park? Are they located on Main Street? Like, where are we finding them?
They are spread out in the park. And again, this is one of the times where I'm a little old school. When you enter for the Halloween party, there is a special Halloween party map. And I highly encourage you to pick it up because it's going to tell you where to find everything you need. Where are those photo booths? Where to find the trick-or-treating and everything that is open, because not 100% of the items are open.
Got it. Okay. Let's segue to the characters. I know you and I are a breed of our own here when it comes to seeking out some of these characters. What did we see here that we don't see every day?
We saw characters in combination that you might not see. The Halloween party is when the 7 dwarfs come out together. It's when princes come out with their princess. So you can get Ariel and Eric together and pictures like that. It's also where the characters come out in costume themselves. So I think the longest character line that I saw was for Stitch dressed as Elvis.
That's awesome. And you're not seeing that at a normal Stitch meet and greet. It's not happening. If you're getting a Stitch meet and greet, period.
All the characters from Winnie the Pooh were out dressed up. Piglet was a flower and Pooh Bear was dressed as a honeybee. They really kind of have a little bit of fun with it. So again, if you're like my family and you're a character seeker, this is a good time to see some of the less common characters. Tweedledee and Tweedledum were out. The Evil Queen was out. Queen of Hearts was out. Lots of opportunity for unique outfits.
Awesome. All right. Here's one that I know people talk about constantly with all of these after hours events, the lines, the short lines. That's a group that you had mentioned. So break that down. What did you say?
So I'm going to back up before I answer your question for a minute.
Sure.
And say that, like I've talked about with other special things that I've covered, this is a rain or shine event. And weather substantially impacts your experience. Right. It rained.
Okay.
And I shouldn't say it rained. It poured. So what does that do when it's pouring and you have that occasional lightning strike? It means that Big Thunder can't run. 7 Dwarfs Mine Train can't run. So lines can be impacted by weather, They're also impacted by weather because more people are looking for indoor attractions like Space Mountain instead of staking out a good parade spot 45 minutes in advance because they don't want to be poured on for that long and they're not sure if there's a parade.
Right.
But again, it is a good time for short lines. There are also some holiday overlays. Pirates has a special holiday overlay for Halloween, the Mad Tea Party, Monsters Inc., and Space Mountain. So again, a unique twist on some attractions, but typical parties, you will see lines that are 20 to 25 minutes for something as popular as Mine Train. Is that a long time to wait? In the scheme of what that ride normally is, no. In the scheme of if I'm going to wait 25 minutes for one ride and I have 5 hours for the party, how is it? Keeping in mind that people who don't listen to the podcast, let's be honest, or they'd know better, are getting on those lines at 7 o'clock that have young children and they're heading out by 9 or 10.
Right.
So you want to get that ride on Mine Train, I encourage you to do it later in the evening. It is going to be a shorter wait.
Okay. One of the things that you see throughout social media, especially Disney's social media, when it comes to this particular experience and the Halloween season in general, are the shows. From the Cadaver Dans to the return of the Hocus Pocus sisters. Tell us about the shows that you saw.
So I'm going to break some bad news to you, Jeff. The one thing that was not at this party, Cadaver Dans this year.
Oh.
I was very surprised. And I will say I personally missed the Hocus Pocus show.
Was that because of weather as well?
It was because of weather. We do have lots of other video of shows I'm going to talk about. But the Hocus Pocus show happens 3 times. The first one was torrential rain. I'm pretty positive it didn't happen.
Right.
The second one, the timing didn't work for me. The third one, I'll be honest, kind of like we talk about with the parks, that closing time is the last time to do something. Even though the party ends at midnight, the last Hocus Pocus show is at midnight. And my plan was to have made an early exit.
Sure.
But I went to the midnight show to try and catch it since I had missed it. They announced it about 11:59. Due to weather, it was delayed. They announced it was delayed more at about 12:10, and at about 12:18, I decided it was time to head for transportation. So I can't tell you if it happened or not. But again, that's one of those things. I was on the phone today with a client who said to me, well, that shows one of the reasons we're going. So if it gets rained out, they give me a refund, right?
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
They do not. These tickets are non-refundable. So I don't encourage you to wait and see what the weather report is, especially for October. You'll find that the party is sold out. You need to take your chances, buy your tickets. And if it rains, there's so much to see and do. There are other things. You're never going to get to see and do it all in one Halloween party. So go with an open mind. Your top thing may not be what you get to see.
It does sound, though, and correct me if I'm wrong because you did live through it, that if you're going specifically for the shows, if the shows are the real reason why you want to go and you do get a bad weather day, it may not end up being an experience that you're in love with.
They want to put the shows on.
Right.
They will do everything in their power. That's why they don't cancel a show. They will postpone it.
Right, as long as possible. They want to get it on.
They try really hard. Listen, it rained and they had to push the parade back, but they got it off. The fireworks, it was drizzling, but they made them work.
Right.
So, they try really hard. And again, just like everything about planning your Disney vacation, I say to people all the time, if you're going to pin your hopes on one thing being the make or break to your Disney vacation, I encourage you not to go to Disney.
I agree. All right.
Because we get that all the time. And there's so many other good things. It's great to go with an idea. But you know what? You might not be able to do Hocus Pocus because it rains, but you got to do the Junior Jams party, which is covered. That's Doc McStuffins, Sophia the First, that great dance party. New Zombies Bash from that TV show that all the kids are loving now. That's an indoor option. head over to our YouTube channel to check out the Zombeats party. The Boo to You parade, one of my favorites, I sing Boo to You all year long, was back in full. I loved it. But again, I'm going to put a disclaimer out there. When you look at my video, it does not start with the infamous Headless Horseman ride. It rained. The horsemen will not come out in the rain, even if the parade is going. It must be dry ground for the Headless Horseman to make that ride, and that's a safety issue.
Makes total sense. So I segue over to the food. We've talked about the specific food that gets created for these types of events on a lot of different shows. Tell us what you saw or what you ate.
I struggled with this one a little bit. Disney, don't be mad at me. They're creating too many specialty foods in my mind, and some of them are really losing it. I think they feel compelled to put a lot of food out there, and so some of it I look at and I think, really? Like there was a churro with M&Ms and peanut butter sauce. Is that the make or break to being a Halloween item? I don't think so. But what I did have, I did love. I did the Gravediggers milkshake, which I'm typically not a matcha person, but oh my God, did I love that. And again, it was 90 degrees, so a nice coconut and matcha shake with some purple whipped cream and my little chocolate grave digging shovel was awesome. And along with that, I had the Worms and Dirt funnel cake. So nice funnel cake with a chocolate cookie crumble, gummy worms, some chocolate ice cream, and a hitchhiking ghost on top.
That sounds great.
But I will also say again, pick what you want. These are party only foods. So these two items actually came from the same spot, which unfortunately, while it normally has mobile ordering, it did not for the party. It came from the Sleepy Hollow refreshment stand, which they shut down at 6 when the park closes, and they reopened at 7 just when the party was open. I got online there about 12 minutes to 7, and I will tell you I was about number 30 online.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So again, pick how you want to spend your time. I encourage people to have dinner at 4:30 or 5, so you're not sitting and taking a lot of time to eat while you've got great party stuff to do.
The one thing I did want to mention here, when we talk about the food, you mentioned those really unique items. Those are paid items, correct?
They are. The included item, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a minute, is the Halloween candy. But all of the refreshments, all of the food is cash purchase items.
Okay. And that's a big deal because that's not the case for every one of these events. So I think that's important for people to know going into it.
And I think what we saw in the interim from pre-COVID to mid-COVID to now is that the parties had some shorter hours, some missing items. And so some of the snacks and drinks were added to give value to your ticket. This party is back in full force, and they don't need to add that value because they've given you everything they always have.
So the last group was the candy, and I want to give a full disclosure here on this particular item. When I was talking to my own children tonight, and I said I'm going to talk to Sandy tonight about the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. Is there anything you would like me to ask? And my daughter looked at me and she said, I want to know about the candy. I want to know about trick-or-treating in the Magic Kingdom. Find that out. So there's the question straight from the mouth of the 5-year-old. Sandy, tell me about the candy and tell me about trick-or-treating.
Well, I will tell you that if you've listened to our past shows or even seen social media, there's been a lot of complaints about the candy in the last couple of years. And full credit to Disney. When people talk, Disney listens. This was definitely the year of candy. And if you arrive between 4 and 6 p.m. while the park is still open to the public, you actually start your party experience by going in what would normally be a backstage area. And they start you with some photo ops. You get your bag for candy, which this year was a more substantial, a small recycling bag that you could reuse more often. And they always give out candy in that backstage area. When I did the parties last couple of years, it was one or two little snack size pieces. And I just kept hearing people go, wow, a full size bag of candy. It was a full big pack of M&Ms, and you would think people had never seen M&Ms before. The excitement over this candy was huge. I will also say you can get a different bag if you're familiar with the teal pumpkin for those with food allergies, whether it's a dairy allergy, a dye allergy, whatever it is. Teal pumpkin is for allergen specific. You collect teal coins in your bag, and then you can go to the Redemption Center where they have cute little crafts as well as allergen friendly cookies and candy that you can pick up. But this year, they definitely heard there hasn't been enough candy in the past, and there hasn't been enough variety. I heard more complaints about candy than I have ever heard in the past, and Disney heard you. More candy stops than ever. There were 13 stops this year. Some of them were what I would call a double dip. You walked into the location, you trick-or-treated, you walked out and you trick-or-treated. The trick-or-treat spots are really easy to find. They've got huge blow-up things outside. And all of the trick-or-treat locations are restaurants or attractions that are not open that you walk through to trick-or-treat. There's small lines. They move super quick. Again, I think they had more people working the party than ever. Every location had 2 to 3 barrels of candy and at least 2 people serving candy out of each one. So instead of where last year you'd go up to the barrel and they'd hand you 2 little snack-sized pieces of candy, they really grabbed a handful of candy for you and filled your bag. Now, again, could I go to Target and buy my family $100 worth of candy instead of spending $600 on tickets? Sure.
That's not the point.
I want to be the mom carrying around 4 kids' bags of candy and carrying an extra 25 pounds at the end of the day? I don't.
Right.
So again, make a plan for the party. Figure out which person you are. Are you the short lines? Are you the shows? Are you the hype? And we'll help you create a plan that works for you.
Now, I guess the question I have, it is the 50th anniversary. Is there anything specific candy-wise that we saw, or anything specific food-wise, I guess, treat-wise that we saw that's 50th themed but also Halloween themed?
Of course. So again, one of the things that happened pre-COVID when you left the party is just before the exit after you pass through the train station, they used to have this big treasure chest of candy and they would top off your bag. They did away with that the last few years, and we heard a lot of people griping about it. This year, they didn't top it off with candy, but they topped it off with a special 50th anniversary Halloween print. So something fun that you can keep forever instead of those candy wrappers that are long gone or the dental bills because of them.
So not food, but an actual physical print.
An actual souvenir for free.
For free, right, free. All right, so I know you hit bad weather. Would you do it again?
I would definitely do it again. As I said, the Boo to You Parade is one of my favorites. I love the fireworks and the extra shows. Do I think everybody needs to do it every year? Definitely not. Do I think first-timers need to flock to the party? Definitely not. But if you've been waiting for the party, it's back, it's better than ever, and it's time to go.
Well, we're coming to the end of the show, so is there anything we didn't cover or anything you'd like to leave the listener with before we say goodnight?
As I said, I think there's a lot of magic to be had, a super fun time, but do remember, tickets are non-refundable, rain or shine, so pack the ponchos and think carefully about your outfits for the night, and you'll be set for a magical time.
Well, Sandy, thank you for taking the time. Thank you for enjoying the experience. Boo to you, and I will see you next week.
You bet. Happy Halloween, everyone.
That's a wrap this week on Let's Talk Diz. If anyone you know could benefit from this or any show, please share, have them like, and subscribe. And don't forget to reach out to the folks at Easy Diz by Instant Impressions Travel Services for any Disney destination planning. Make it a great week, and as always, keep making memories.